Okay, what do I got today? I got a piece of obsidian. It's got a little bit of mahogany obsidian there, but it's mostly black. So you call it, well, it's sometimes called black butter obsidian. Or if you can't see any of the mahogany on there, they call it black butter dacite. Dacite or dacite. D-A-C-I-T-E. D-A-C, not D-A-Y. See, the word day is not in there. Anyway, I like knapping this stuff. It's the same as mahogany obsidian, except it's solid black. I like mahogany obsidian. These flakes down here, they're different than regular obsidian. I can see them. Even though they're dastardly, these are dastardly. I can see them. If they get under my skin, I can see them. It's not like obsidian where I can't see anything. I just had to dig around and wait till I hear that little glass click. There it is. Then dig it out with an X-Acto knife or something. But this I can see. So I don't mind knapping this all day long. I won't knap this inside the van, but I don't mind knapping it in the shop all day long. Why don't I knap more of this? Because I wanted to knap other stuff. Yeah. Now some of you say, wait. Back up. Some of you were saying, back up. What do you mean knapping it in the van? What's going on here? Yeah. My van is my mobile shop. And it's my little RV. It's my little van life mobile. Yeah. That's what they call a van life. It's a van life mobile. And yeah, I stayed down by the river sometimes with it. I'm not ashamed. I'm shameless. I like parking down near the river. Of course, I can't stay there all night without a permit. Because there are places you can park, you know, to look at the river. Ooh, so pretty. But you can't stay over there. You can't stay overnight. There's houses and stuff nearby. You gotta, if you have a permit to park there, yeah. But I didn't, so I had to leave. Can't stay there all night. Anyway, where was I? Where was this, you might ask? Where did I park? Near the river. This is in Vermont. Everywhere you look, there's a river. I mean, you can't avoid it. They're everywhere. Yep. Drive for 20 minutes or less, 15 minutes, and there's a river. Another 15 minutes, and there's another little river. Another 15 minutes. There's a little pond, lake. Every 15, 20 minutes. Water everywhere. The only thing I was disappointed at was the lack of respectable campsites. Yeah, I couldn't find any that just for regular primitive camping. I call that respectable because, you know, it's it respects the campers. Just regular primitive campers. There's hardly any primitive camping sites. Not that I saw. I was in the Let's see, where is it? Southeast side of Vermont. Yeah. They got RV sites that are highly expensive. Yeah, I can stay there. Highly expensive and highly regulated. It's no fun. Basically, it's like stealth RV camping. You go in there really quiet. You gotta stay quiet the whole time. Make sure no one sees you. No one wants to see people. Then be on your way. That's it. Yeah. All right. So what is this going to be? I don't know. It's probably going to be something thin. I'm thinking about making thick points on video. Thinking about it. Still thinking about it. See, if it's got a curve in it, it has a slight curve. If it has a curve, if you don't get it really thin, that curve stays in there. So that's one reason why I don't usually make thick points, because to get the curve out in a lot of these, it's got to be thin, because that's the only thing that'll fit in there as a thin point. And this is steel. Still steel. Still steel. Still steel. I was using steel in the last video. In case you didn't notice. In case you didn't hear that part. 3/8 inches. Mild steel. At least I think it's mild steel. Hope it is. If it's not, I've been telling everybody the wrong type of steel. But yeah, it's probably mild steel. Yeah, mild, M-I-L-D. M-I-L-D, mild. Mild-mannered steel. Yeah, it's got manners. This kind of steel's got manners. It's mild-mannered. That's how you remember. Mm-hmm. So I flattened one side. I like to flatten one side first in many cases and then work on the other side. Now this is the part that gets kind of dicey because it's starting to get thin. And I want to hit it really hard, but I shouldn't, because the flakes can dive in. So I gotta skim them off, but not be too gentle, because then I don't get anywhere. Yeah. It's very, very controlled. Yes, indeed. I gotta be very controlled, and the control guys, the guys that like to control all the flakes, are gonna be very happy to know that I also employ a lot of control sometimes. Very carefully remove the flakes. Very carefully. Some guys want me to knap the worst dacite possible because that's what they got. I don't like knapping the worst dacite possible. No. It really is some of the worst stuff you can knap. Truly. It's cheap. But it's very snap and halfish. It's very snappity. And not in a good way. Yeah. It's almost impossible to get a long narrow point out of some of that dacite. It's very difficult to get a long narrow point out of this dacite, and this is some of the best stuff you can ever hope to get. As far as consistency, although it does have irregular areas, sometimes it has pockets of weird stuff, like it'll have these little defects like that you don't know what that is. What is it? It's nature. Yeah, you'll find nature in some of these stones and it'll mess you up. You don't mess with Mother Nature. Yeah, my son says, Dad, you're trying too hard with your jokes. This is cringe. I said, I know, but I'm entertaining myself. I don't got an audience. I don't know how you guys react. I'm entertaining myself. And he goes, oh, okay, fine. Fine. It's cringe, Dad. Cringe. Yeah, I know. I get the cringes when I watch my own videos sometimes. Yeah. It's also a Flintknapping term. You can get the cringes while you're Flintknapping. Get the cringes when you get the hinges. Yeah. Yeah. Some of you might be saying, I like the silent videos better when you're acting like that. It's supposed to be serious. Yeah. Flintknapping is so serious. Can't goof around at all. Can't goof it. No. Stones don't have no sense of humor, especially Obsidian. Obsidian's a real tough customer. It ain't got no sense of humor. Especially this stuff. It's too sophisticated for humor. Yeah. It's some of that fancy stuff. It fancies itself as being really fancy. I know. It tries to be Obsidian. It's very pretentious. Yeah. I suppose it is. But it's debatable. Yep. There's a debate going on whether it's black butter dacite or black obsidian related to mahogany type obsidian. It doesn't even feel real. It feels like a plastic. I've said that before. This stuff feels like a plastic. Yep. I like it though. I can make really delicate points out of this stuff. If I'm very, very careful, I can make really delicate points. And yep, using steel. But copper is good. Copper is really good. Aluminum, you can use aluminum on this. Although, I tend to use now the aluminum only for the billet. I've got a bunch of other aluminum that I was gifted by a very generous YouTube subscriber. I will make tools out of it. Eventually. And it does work really well. There's no real advantage of using steel, except for the low maintenance. Everything else is kind of a pain in the butt when you use steel. It's not that great, believe me. Yeah. But it gets the job done with very little maintenance. As long as you can adapt. If you hate it, you're not going to be able to adapt to it. You got to have some tolerance level for the steel. If you don't, you're going to hate it and you're going to be grumpy. And then your stone will get grumpy. And then you'll make grumpy points. What's a grumpy point? Believe me, you'll know. You look at the point and you go, man, that point's angry looking. This is grumpy as heck. Yeah. And your buddies will go, what'd you do to that point to make it so grumpy? Well, I didn't like it, so I was beating the heck out of it. Yeah. I didn't hold back. I figured it's going to break on me anyway, so might as well. Luckily, it didn't break. It's just an angry point now. Looks like it should have broken several places, but it didn't. That's what an angry point is. It looks like it should have broken in several places. It's all kind of wonky. It's got little islands of step fractures. It's got a big turtle back somewhere. I remember those days. Yeah. But it got its revenge. The stone gets its revenge. You know, there's karma and stuff. It'll break on you many, many times. Right when you need it not to break, it'll break. Right when you need it not to step fracture, it'll step fracture. It'll get you back. Eventually, it'll call it good. Okay, we're good. We're even. And then everything will start falling into place. Yep. It does happen. I used to have so much trouble with flakes running to the center and beyond, to infinity and beyond. I used to have so much trouble with these. I could not get them to go to infinity and beyond. No. What does that mean, to go to infinity and beyond? You know, go halfway or more without step fracturing. You know, you wanted to go halfway, but you don't want it to go halfway and then step. You don't want it to go more than halfway and then step. You want it to go to infinity and beyond. You don't want it to step. That's the beyond part. It's no good. It's got to feather out at the end. Yeah. I took a long time. Didn't make any videos. I was just hunkered down in my shop for an entire year going, I'm going to do it. I'm going to repeat the same thing over and over and do the same thing over and over and over until I get different results. And I did that for a year. And guess what? There was a light at the end of the tunnel. It started to change. Everything started to change. I had a Eureka Moment. And I said, you know what? You know what the secret is to not getting step fractures? It's so simple. The mindset is, do not bite off more than you can chew. Don't try to do too much. It's so simple. Some guys want to get a thin point really, really thin. Yep, that's too much. Some guys want to shoot a long flake like this every single time. It's too much. Some guys, they don't want to grind the edge much, or they grind it too much, and they say it better work because I seen someone else do it. I'm going to force it to work. It's too much. Gotta be a little bit adaptive. Do not bite off more than you can chew. It's better to have a thick point than no point at all. Better to have a thick point without step fractures than a thin point with step fractures. Yep. If you're trying to do exactly what I do, that's perfectly okay. But don't expect to get the same exact results. On thinness, you might be able to get the flake pattern, but you won't get the thinness if you're new. So don't try that. It's biting off more than you can chew if you're trying that. But you say to yourself, well, I see what you do. I know what you do. I can see how hard you're hitting. I got the same material. I got the same tools. Why can't I do the same? Like I said, it took me a year to be able to do this without step fractures, and I still have trouble with it once in a while. And I got to do damage control. Yeah. I didn't take time off specifically to learn how to do damage control, because I've been doing damage control from the start. How do I fix that? How do I fix that? Every time I have a mistake, in the beginning, I used to try to fix it right away. These days, I'll leave it a little bit alone for a while. If I don't have to deal with it right away, I won't. I'll just leave a step fracture in there and come back to it a little bit later. But when I first started, it was like, I got to deal with it now. If I don't, I will implode. You know, I'll start collapsing. Can't do it. I can't wait. My brain start collapsing in on itself. That's how it felt. So that's what I did. And then I started to chill after a while. Yeah, I just chilled. That's another thing. If you don't start to ease up a little bit, you know. Yeah, you can put your nose to the grindstone, so to speak, in the beginning. Get all stern and taciturn, dour. Serious. Yeah. But don't do that forever. If you're like me, though, if you get too happy-go-lucky, it starts going downhill pretty fast. Everything starts to avalanche down the mountain, and you can't help it. It starts to have the snowball effect, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. So I can't goof around too much. It has the worst, the opposite snowball effect. Usually it's pretty good to have a snowball going downhill and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You want that to happen when you're making money, for example. You don't want that when you're starting to get errors in your Flintknapping. You don't want that snowball effect. But for me, I get that snowball effect if I start goofing around. It starts to mess up here and then there and then there, and I start getting frustrated, and I go, wait a second, I get mixed emotions. This stuff is not letting me have any fun. What's going on? And then snaps. Yep. Where was I going with that one? Gotta chill. But you can't chill too much. Maybe that was where I was going with that. Everything is a balance with the Flintknapping. Not too little, not too much. Yeah. Don't bite off more than you can chew. pace yourself. Don't pace yourself too much, because then you end up doing wimpy flakes that don't go anywhere. Gotta strike that balance. I'm giving you an overall strategy. Don't grind too much and don't grind too little. How do you know what's what? You don't, because it requires practice. You don't really know. Your subconscious takes over because of all the practice. And then that's what knows. Yeah. After a while it knows. Not perfectly, but it does a pretty good job of it. And if you're enjoying the material, see, there's some materials that I do enjoy knapping. It kind of ruins the fun a little bit if I have to go really, really, really thin. You know, it does ruin the moment. Like if you're eating your favorite food, you kind of want to, you know, kind of savor it. You don't want to be eating it as fast as you possibly can. You don't want to be creating stress while you're enjoying your favorite food. No. Now, it's a very interesting video to see someone scarf down a whole pizza in less than 5 seconds. Yeah, it's good video content. I could try to thin this down as far as humanly possible, but it's like trying to scarf down a pizza in 5 minutes. Or less. I think 5 minutes is easy. Right? How about less than a minute? Whole pizza. I don't know. It's probably pretty easy for some guys too. Anyway, that's how Flintknapping is like. You enjoy a particular type of stone. Go slow with it. Nothing says you got to make a point fast. I do it on video. It'd take risks and all that, but that's one thing you're not going to know from the video is you can take your time. You don't have to develop this as fast as I did or whatever. Some guys will say, no, it's not fast. You're not being fast. Okay, fine. If it seems fast to you and you don't want to go this fast, don't go this fast. If this is too slow for you and you go faster and you have better results if you're Speedy Gonzalez, then fine. Yeah. I push it as far as I can without making a mess. This is starting to get a little messy. Right in there. I tried to pick off that. Right? I just tried to pick that one off. Ooh, that went a little bit. Why didn't the steel spatula tool do anything? I don't know. It's a mysterious mystery. Yeah, I want to drop this. Even though it's just flakes and the towel and the drop cloth, very shock absorbent, I don't want to drop it because all it takes is a little dink on the tip and it'll break it off. Oh yes. And then it's not entertaining. It's not good content. No. It's like dropping the pizza. You know what happens when you drop a pizza, right? It automatically just, if it starts to fly this way down with the top up, it'll flip over and hit the floor with the pepperonis. Yeah. Even though the pepperonis are up like this, when it starts falling, the pepperonis will be down when it gets to the floor. Same with the point. It looks like it'll drop this way, but as soon as it gets to the floor, the point will go first and dink, it'll come right off. Yeah. It's true. Yeah. You don't have bad luck like that? Holy moly. I'm jealous. If you don't have bad luck like that, I am jealous. I guarantee that. Right when I don't want it to fall and land on the tip, it's exactly when it happens. It knows. If I'm sitting here and I don't care if it falls or anything, it's never going to fall on the tip. Yeah. I'm hesitating to hit any more flakes into that area, because if I do, it's going to step on me. It's going to step, and when I say step on me, it's not going to walk on me with its boots. You know, that's not what I mean. It's going to cause a step fracture. Yeah. All right. So what is it going to be? I don't know. It's going to be thin. That's all. That's what everybody wants to see. How did I do it? Why didn't I describe everything? I don't know how I did it. Yeah. I mean, I know generally. I told you I don't bite off more than I can chew. I know how much I can chew, and I only bite off as much as I can chew. In most cases. Yeah, most cases, that's what I do. Sometimes I take a big risk, and I know I am. I start getting sweaty. The subconscious is going, wait a second. This is not what I was trained to do. What are you trying to do? Pushing the envelope. And the conscious mind goes, yeah, that's my job, dude. Push you out of your comfort zone. Yep. You know that we have more than one mind, right? Subconscious mind and the conscious mind. We also have the physical mind. The body tells us stuff. You didn't know that? Yeah. That's one of the keys to consciousness. Being aware of yourself. What is aware? I mean, if you only had one mind, it's like not having trying to look at yourself without a mirror. It's very difficult to know what you look like without a mirror. So you got two minds. All of a sudden you can see yourself. See what you're thinking. Sometimes that mirror is very cloudy. You gotta learn how to clear off the cloudiness and wipe the cobwebs off. Figure out what's going on. What is the conscious mind doing? What's the subconscious mind doing? What does each one do? Don't be all like some of these philosophers that don't know what's going on. Or they think they do. And they'll get all wrapped up in determinism. And they figure you don't got no choice. No, anyway, I don't know why you're so worried about it. The determinists say you don't have any say anyway. Yeah, don't let that creep in. it'll interfere with what you're doing. You can't just let the subconscious mind take over. And yes, you have to let it do that. It doesn't do it automatically. It might want to do it automatically, but it has to go through the approval process through the conscious mind. The only time it doesn't do that is when you're dreaming. There is no approval process. It just, all this stuff just comes in there. There's no filter. When you're dreaming, you're asleep. There's no filter. There's no conscious filter to what your subconscious comes up with. You don't want that to happen while you're napping. Nope. Alright, so I did the basic removal of lumps. I was already napping today. I probably should not nap before I do my video because I'm a little bit worn out. Yeah. But the later I nap, the less interruptions I get. So, I prefer to nap without any interruptions. No interruptions in the laboratory. No. So I'll deal with a little bit of burnout. This is a nice break from all the chert and the heat treats I've been testing. This doesn't need any heat treatment. It's beautiful. The flakes are easy to deal with, relatively speaking, compared to other types of obsidian or dacite. These are opaque for the most part. What is opaque? O-P, right? O-P-A. Q-U-E? I think that's how you spell it. O-P-A-Q-U-E. Opaque. Gosh, I can't even spell right now. I don't know. I think that's it. I don't want to do the tip. It's a little bit wonky, but I don't want to mess with it right now. I'm tempted just to leave it like this. Just offer it as a little biface. The island in the middle is getting me getting on my nerves. Hold on. Let's see what we can do. I actually got a lot of people commenting on the last Obsidian video. I figure Obsidian's already done to death, So many Obsidian videos out there. Nothing new under the sun. I just pushed that flake off into that area, and I don't know if that looks better now or not. I don't know. I think I might have kind of liked it better before. Yeah. It's too thin to shoot a flake in that area, I think, in my opinion. Now I say, take your time on these. I don't always take my time on these when it's a material that I like. Sometimes I do go pretty fast. Yeah, I guess it just depends on the mood. I guess so. Uh-oh, did that work? I hope it worked. Yeah. No, it didn't work that great. So I wanted to go in there and remove some of that ridge there, but it stopped. It's alright, it's okay. Alright. Normally I wear a glove on this other hand while I'm doing the pressure flaking, but I'm watching them. I'm watching those flakes, paying attention that they don't get between my finger and the pad. A lot of times that'll distract me and I'll mess up some of the flaking if I'm paying attention to stuff like that. But this is so much more easy than the other stuff I've been napping that I can pay attention to other stuff. You might say, yeah, rub it in. Yeah. All right, what's the ratio? Yeah, that's what I want to know. Glad you reminded me. Let's see, millimeters, 45. The thickness is 6, or is it 5? Let's not cheat here. Maybe a little, but let's see. Let's see if we can see if it's 5 millimeters. Ooh, it kind of is. And that's 6. Right? I don't want to cheat too much. 5.5. If it was 5, it'd be 9-1. So, but if it's 6, it's like 7-1. We'll just call it 7-1. How's that? Yeah. 6 times 7 is 42, so it's a little bit better than 7-1, right? Is that what I said? I don't know. So it's pretty doggone thin. Yeah. I'll leave it. Yeah, if I mess with it and put notches in it, I'll probably miss out on something that could have been made into that's even more cool than I could think of. Yeah. I'll mess it up. I'll make it not as cool as it could have been. Yeah, this has got good potential. Or it can be used just like it is. Can you haft it to a little dart foreshaft? Just like this? Yeah. You don't need any, if you got good glue, you don't need any wrappings. You just need wrappings on the wood down here. So if it went during impact, it doesn't split the wood. Yeah. Now this is a big fat opening in this little dart foreshaft, but I did it on purpose so I could show you how it looks like to haft the thick points. Yeah, so are these spear or little dart points, these teardrop shaped just like this? I don't think so. I think they were knives. If they're just like this without notching, I think they're knives. And some of them with notching are knives too, but I would tend to think that this is a knife because you don't put as much force on it with a knife as you do with as a little dart point. So you don't need a stem or something for extra support. No notches or stem. And the glue should hold it in. Now, if you want to use modern glue on this stuff, use an epoxy that glues to glass. Make sure it says glass on the epoxy. I've made that mistake before. I've glued these in with epoxy that was made for wood and stuff, and it doesn't hold. It cracks. It'll come right out. Believe it or not. Even with epoxy. Yeah. So make sure you use glass glue and epoxy if you use epoxy. Yeah. What natural glues work well with this? None. except one. Hide glue. Hide glue will work well, but I don't know. I don't know if they had hide glue back in the day during the Paleo and Archaic times. I suppose they had a way to make it without boiling the skins. Maybe you can soak the skins in a certain temperature water for a long time. I don't know. You probably need to add something to start digesting the proteins and breaking them down, so you can make it all gooey. Hide glue will work on this as a hafting glue. Alright, so yeah, I can't think of anything else, and I don't want to ruin it with notches or a stem, so there you go.